or anyone. It's so weird when everyone starts their videos like, "What's up, guys? What's up, everyone?" Because I don't want to just assume that like a bunch of people are watching this, but I think the right people are probably going to be part of this conversation. I don't know if saying that I'm excited to talk about this today is the right thing, but I do feel equipped to talk about this, and I do feel burdened to talk about it as well. And I think that part of the reason is that I get to see and meet and interact with so many young people. I really have the privilege, traveling around with Lionheart, of interacting with what just kind of feels like the human spirit or the human condition. Just you get to meet so many humans and interact with them. And I'm here in my house today, just a little behind the scenes. This is my computer here. There's Jeremiah. See, no one really knows who's behind all this stuff, and then they're like, "Oh, there he is, right there. He's pushing buttons. He's looking good. He's got his own computer. We have our camera set up over there. Hello." And then behind me, got the fireplace. So we're trying to set the mood for you guys. I want to talk about violence, school shootings, gun control in America, and I want to offer a Lionheart perspective on this. So our niche in schools, we see around 250,000 kids each year. Our niche as a group and our specialty is starting conversations and having discussions and prompting meaningful dialogue around worth and value. And at the end of the day, we believe that this is what life comes down to. Are you connected with a sense of worth and value when it comes to your identity and how you see yourself? So I do recognize that this is just, man, it is such a touchy subject. I mean, just bringing up violence, school shootings, gun control, this is already just so sensitive, and it feels like a crucial conversation. There's high stakes involved, and there's really high emotions. Everyone is so passionate and heated about this topic in general. We're just kind of coming off of the heels of the latest shooting here in Michigan at Michigan State University. So I want to make it clear before hopping into this that my purpose of offering some reflections, some insights, and some challenges for young people is for that purpose. It's not to offer a solution to everything. It's not to say, well, if only this happened, then we'd be fine. We'd have peace. It's to create dialogue. I want thoughtful dialogue, meaningful conversation, and I would love to help broaden the perspective for the young people that I interact with and for us on this massive issue. Now, the first thing that I think that we should kind of zero in on is most of us were made aware of this last shooting and most shootings and most violence in America through our social media, through our phones. And the first thing that I want to communicate is we can't repost and reshare our way out of this mess. I know that for us, that's kind of our knee-jerk reaction is to say, hey, I stand with this group, or I stand with this person, or I stand with this organization, or sending thoughts and prayers, or changing our profile picture to a place or a flag or location or a heart or something like that. The first thing I think we need to really settle on here is that we can't repost and reshare our way out of this. In fact, if I could introduce a key term to you, so as a young person, if you're watching this, one thing that we have to be careful of is something called performative allyship. And just to kind of illustrate it before I define it, there was a few years ago, there was a shooting in France, and it almost felt like within hours, everyone on Facebook had overlaid their profile picture with the French flag, and said like, "We stand with France," or "I stand with France," and performative allyship is making it appear that we're doing something when we're not. Performative allyship is a way of sometimes showing that you care, and having it appear like you're involved or that we're involved, when really we're just trying to prove to people that we're not against something, or that we're not insensitive enough to just You've experienced it before. I want you to be able to understand this. Performative allyship, it's an element of performance, but it comes with how you posture yourself, or how you post, or how you, it's the context that you present yourself with. So if you say something like, "Hey, I stand with," it could be anything. "I stand with XYZ." But that doesn't have any actual reflection in the way that you live your life, in the way that you spend your money, in the way that you spend your time and your resources and your talents. What's happening there is called performative allyship. It's a sense of performance, but you are posturing yourself as an ally. There we go. Nailed it. Jeremiah, we got this. That's exactly what performative allyship is, and it might even actually be good if you're watching this as a young person or even as an adult to say, "Hey, how have I participated in performative allyship?" Because it kind of gives us the illusion that we're doing something. It gives us the illusion of togetherness, but in reality, there's not really anything tangible there. The second thing is probably my main takeaway for today. So if you're a main takeaway person, this is for you. The only thing that really matters is how you live your life. The only thing that really matters is how you live your life. The actual decisions that you make that affect the way that you interact with people, that at the end of the day, no matter what you post, no matter what you share, no matter what opinion you have, no matter who you stand with, at the end of the day, it's only going to come back to how you actually live your life, how you spend the seconds that you have with people, your words, the way that you use your hands, the way that you look at people, all of those things. That's what matters the most at the end of the day. Just personally, I get so annoyed, like especially after this last shooting. There's so many posts that are like, "Never again, never again. This has to end. Something needs to change." And the language is just so powerful. It's so potent. You can feel it. Never again. This has to end. Something needs to change. It invokes so much emotion, and it almost feels good to be able to say it, to post it, to share it. I'd like to challenge you, and it's really a challenge to us, to spend more time with that before posting. Okay? So, for example, when you say, "Never again, never again," what exactly do you mean by that? What is it specifically? Get down to the layers that you really want to see change instead of just "never again," or "something needs to change." As young people and as part of our American culture, we're really great at just being like, "Hey, something needs to change." And what we're doing is we're distancing ourselves from having to participate in it because something out there needs to change. What exactly do you want to see? I talked with a friend who said, well, why don't they just take away guns? And I'm thinking to myself, like, who is they? Who is they? It's like a trap. It's like the they trap is just so big with us and our generation, our society. Like, well, that's what they need to do. They need to change. And that's a lot of they language. It's a they trap. Anyone but me or us, but they need to do something. I think one of the most healthy things that we could do as a society is be aware of the they trap. Always saying, hey, well, they need to do something. What is the something that you need to see? Here's the truth. This is so important, is that this whole idea of and reality of violence and gun control and shootings in America is that this is a nuanced issue, okay? Nuance is a really great word to add to your vocabulary. Like, we're going to call that one of our key terms for the day. It's a nuanced issue. That nuanced it means that there's layers. There are so many layers to this. It's not just about taking away guns. It's a gun control issue. Yes, absolutely. It's also a mental health issue, 100%. It's also a social media issue, an attention issue. It's all of them mixed together in this cocktail that we're experiencing as a culture. It's a social issue. It's a social issue on one hand. It's a constitutional issue. It's all of these things together. It's nuanced, okay? This is the word that I need us to be able to zero in on today. It's a nuanced issue. There are so many layers and perspectives and things to blame and things to consider and voices to hear. It's not just a black and white issue where there's only two sides. As you grow up, part of maturity is understanding that the world is very nuanced. People are very nuanced. There's so many layers and perspectives that we need to consider. And we want to stay away from extremes where we think to ourselves there's only this way or that way. So when it comes to violence, when it comes to school shootings in our country, it's not just one thing. It's a nuanced, layered issue. If you're watching this from a classroom, it might even be good to just get out a piece of paper and write down all of the things that you see in our society that may contribute to what's happening. Layers. Nuance. You could, just to illustrate this a little bit further, you could take another controversial issue, something like abortion. Roe versus Wade was overturned this past year, caused a huge stir in our country. But even when abortion was illegal, there were still tons of abortions. So just making something illegal doesn't necessarily eliminate it, right? So if you take, for example, guns, right? Well, they or the government should just take away guns, or make them illegal. It's possible that you're actually just inflaming the issue at that point, because if you want to get a gun to kill someone, you can get a gun to kill someone. You can find a way. People who want to do that are going to find a way. Just making something illegal doesn't necessarily eliminate the issue. It's nuanced. There are so many layers here. And so where does that leave us? This is my fifth point. Where does that leave us? Because mass shooters make up for less than 1% of the population. You know who the other 99% of the population is? It's me, and it's you. It's us together. I think to stay true to the Lionheart theme and message, I want to make this personal for us watching this. Remember, it only matters how you live your life. Every day, listen to me, every day we either affirm the worth of life inside of people or we diminish it. This is the truth. Every single day we affirm the worth of life inside of the people around us or we diminish it. A gun is not the only way that people's lives are ruined. The words that we say, the way that we look at people, the way that we talk to people, our text messages, our sarcasm, our cancel culture, all of that upholds the value of life or it diminishes it. And you might be listening and saying, like, you know, I'm not going to go and shoot up a school. But some of us have just caused irreversible emotional damage, death, and despair, and we do it daily. So you might be listening, you might be thinking to yourself, he didn't push hard enough with this issue, or maybe he pushed too far. But my hope is that really this is just a launch pad. This is just a place to start a meaningful conversation in your classroom, in the halls of your schools, in your home. Say, how is this not just a they issue? How do we make this personal? How do we make this about us? How do we use our time, our life, our words, our eyes in a way that we uphold life and the value of life every day in the smallest interactions in this classroom, in my home, in these halls? Because at the end of the day, that's what it all comes down to.